Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the result of Manchester United's Premier League opener at home against Arsenal. And today, I will be breaking down the performance of both teams. I'll be giving you my views, my opinions on the first game week from a Man United point of view. So, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. I'm your host, Scotty Gamer, as always. Bit of a different location, as you can see. That's because I am currently on holiday. That is the reason I haven't been able to post as consistently. But, ladies and gentlemen, just like Premier League football, I am back. And just like Premier League football for the next 9 months, content doesn't stop, okay? Nor do I. So, let's get right into it. So, as I said, Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1, a narrow defeat by the Gunners at Old Trafford. But what I will say is, I was watching United last weekend, and we have potential. We have a lot of potential in comparison to last year, especially because last year our attack was like a blunt knife trying to cut through butter. It just didn't work. But anyway, I want to get onto to Arsenal first before I go on to Man United's point of view. And I want to start off with David Raya, Gabriel and Saliba. Or in general, their whole defence, should I say. Won them the game. What an absolute masterclass by the Arsenal defence. You had Brian Mbeumo tearing down that right-hand side. You had Matheus Cunha constantly running at him. But as I say, absolute masterclass, and it won them the game. Stoke City FC, it was a set piece once again. Arsenal now with 31 goals after corners, I believe, in one Premier League season, an absolute record from that standpoint. But as I said, Arsenal's defence and David Raya, absolute masterclass. Won them the game. Now, I want to move on to midfield, right? To Arsenal's midfield. And a few fans would have noticed something, right? And I have as well. Which is that Arsenal in the midfield didn't look as organised as they did last year. Of course, they were still organised, but it was just a bit different now. The reason why it didn't seem as organised as last year is because Martin Zubimendi, hear me out. A lot of you Gunners will already know this. Now that Martin Zubimendi is in, Declan Rice has the freedom to push up to be more of a 8 instead of a 6, which means he can go forward more often, he can, dribble a bit more, he can have a few more shots, because back in the deeper line, Martin Zubimendi gives the stability for him to do that. Now, Martin Odegaard, it's always a big question with Martin Odegaard because I actually thought that Rice and Zubamendi would both stay back, allowing Odegaard the freedom to be a creative number 10. But Arteta's given Declan Rice more of the freedom in comparison to Odegaard. And that's the reason why Arsenal looked a bit more unorganised on the eye than they did last year. Now, I want to touch on Martin Zubamendi real quick. Of course, his Premier League debut at Old Trafford, and wow. You can make a combination of me just clapping. What a debut for Martin Zubamendi. Absolutely amazing. Genuinely. As I said, he was the anchor in the back line, or in the midfield line, should I say. 6 line-breaking passes in the first half alone, which is mad. But Martin Zubamendi is the guy to control the game for you. And Martin Zubamendi, as I say, is the guy to give you stability and a certain anchor, if you want, in midfield. Wow. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely insane. Arsenal got him for a steal as well, and I think he's still going to do great things in an Arsenal shirt for years to come. And now I want to touch on Arsenal's forward line a bit. Of course, another Premier League debut in that department in Victor Gyökeres. I'll be honest, not the greatest debut I've ever seen, respectfully. But people keep forgetting, because I've seen Gyökeres get absolutely slandered by football media. And I'm like, man, he's come from Portugal. He's come from the Portuguese league, scored 53 goals in 52 games, and what is it, like 95 goals in 102 games, or 97 goals in 102 games for Sporting? Absolutely incredible, right? But only because he didn't play well in his first big game, people are doubting him? Oh man, grow up. Football fans should grow up, man. The thing is, he's gonna need time to adapt, right? And people forget this. If players come from a foreign league, they will need time to adapt. And it's the same with Victor Gyökeres. I'm gonna take, from a United point of view, Sir Alex Ferguson. The first year or two, he struggled, right? We could have sacked him. But you know what? We said no. We stayed with him, and look what happened. One of the all-time greatest managers of all time. And you know what United gave him? Support and backing, right? And that's what Arsenal fans need to do with Gyökeres. That's what Arsenal fans need to do with Gyökeres, because with Eze coming in, ladies and gentlemen, with Eze coming in, as confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, here we go, he will also help to provide Gyökeres with chances, right? And as soon as Arsenal unlock the key, how exactly to serve Gyökeres, you guys will be cooking, okay? So I'm not worrying about Gyökeres, even though he had, as I say, not the greatest debut I've ever seen. Martinelli, now Martinelli is just Martinelli. Like, the left wing's always been an issue. Gunners know this. You know, he had a couple of good actions, but as I say, the left wing's always been an issue. As for Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side, he had an all-right game, I guess. You know, he was dribbling at players, he was having a go to get past players, but the United defence played very well. You know, he tried to make things happen. He tried to create space, yeah. So for the first game, again, I wouldn't worry that much. You know, people just need to get used to each other and just need to learn a bit of chemistry. But as I say, I won't worry about Bukayo Saka too much. He had a alright game for the first game. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I will be moving on to a Man United point of view, okay? Now, Bayern there, not gonna lie, had an absolute howler. Bayern there had a howler. Just letting the goal go in, you know, arguably it's Bayern Deer's fault, but at the end of the day, it was a good goal for Arsenal. But the goalkeeping issue needs to be resolved, right? In defence, we had Shaw, Dalot, De Ligt, and then Dorgu. Dorgu and Dalot as the wing backs, right? And honestly, Matthias De Ligt, what a game. What a game, okay? He played very well in my opinion. You know, I wouldn't say he pocketed anybody, but he did play very well. Very, very well. Arguably his best performance in a United shirt. Yeah, you know, if he keeps going like this, and if we stay healthy, I'm not too concerned about the defence. Now, if we move on to the midfield and to the pivot, right? Of course, Bruno Fernandes playing there, you know, and Mason Mount as well, but Mason Mount being more in a creative role. Mason Mount had a good game. Mason Mount had a actually quite amazing game, considering all his performances in the United shirt previously. But you know, I'm still not that sure. Like, I prefer Bruno in that number 10 role over Mount, in that creative role over Mount. But yeah, Mason Mount had a great game. You know, Casemiro did his best. Casemiro did well, and as I say, Bruno did alright in the midfield pivot, but people also forget that he's being misused in that position. People know that Bruno is more of a creative midfielder. So yeah, if Amorim can put him into the creative space, we'll see what he can do. Bottom line is, we need a midfielder. We need a... I mean, it's been said that Asela, I don't know his first name, but Gomez from Sevilla is being linked to us. But as maybe Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart. But bottom line is, we need a midfielder. But as I say, solid performance from the midfield. Mount had a good game. Casemiro did well. Bruno did all right. And the midfield did well. And now if we move up to the attack, right? Basically we had Cunha, Mbeumo, and then later on Šeško. Now Šeško also made his debut, you know, and he did all right, you know. Only thing that's annoying, in my opinion, is if we bring on Šeško, if we bring on a 6'5" big boy who can use his head, why don't we cross into the box? Because we know that Benjamin Šeško can win those duels, right? Bit confusing to me, but as I say, people need to get used to each other. People need to learn a bit of chemistry, and I think we'll be all right. And now going to another two debutants in Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha. Wow. clapping again. Unbelievable from both of them. As I say, last year our attack was like a blunt knife trying to cut through butter. Didn't work. But Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo give me hope and confidence and also a lot of potential, right? Because I want to start on Bryan Mbeumo here. Bryan Mbeumo had an amazing game. Of course, he didn't score, he didn't assist, but he was tearing down that right-hand side, trying to cut in, trying to take a shot, trying to, take players on, which is absolutely great. Cunha had a couple chances where I was like, this is it, but narrowly missed. But as I say, both of them were absolutely amazing. Both of them tried to dribble past players. Both of them tried to take players on. Both of them tried to have a shot, which you can't really say for Rasmus Højlund. And honestly, with the front three of Benjamin Šeško, Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo, and one game a week because we don't have European football, all I'm saying is we have potential. We have very much potential. And people say that, oh, Man United are back in 15th, oh, they lost the opening game. People, don't forget, we played the best defence in the league. Don't forget that. And I reckon, and I'm confident and I'm sure that it will be the same again this year, right? Arsenal will be the best defence in the league. And plus, it's not bad losing to the champions. You've heard me right. And before I go, clip this up. Arsenal are winning the league. Okay? Let me tell you why, right? So the main three competitors for Arsenal are City, Chelsea, Liverpool, right? Well, Chelsea, arguably, but anyway. Let's analyse these teams, right? Rodri is back from injury, yes, but he won't hit the ground running. He'll need a few games to perform. He'll need a few games to find his ground, right? Which means the whole spine of the team is ripped apart, right? Their main creator in Kevin De Bruyne has gone to Napoli, which takes Haaland out of the equation. Don't get me wrong, Cherki is a great signing, but he'll also need a bit of time to figure out how to feed Haaland, right? And that might take a month, that might take 2 months, it depends, okay? But as I say, that takes Haaland out of the equation, and that takes Rodri out of the equation because I don't think he'll be able to hit the ground running. So that's Man City broken down. Next, Liverpool. Now, Liverpool rely too much on Salah, and Salah will go downhill this year. Salah will go downhill. He had 47 GA last season, and he will not do the same thing again. Salah is the main reason why people are linking up, right? But people say to me, maybe Florian Wirtz, maybe this, that. People, Florian Wirtz played in the Bundesliga. He's a great player. But what you guys forget is Premier League is much more physical, much more demanding mentally, and also defenders mark attackers tighter in the Premier League, which gives Florian Wirtz no room to operate. No room to operate, okay? Absolutely no room to operate. Yeah, so I reckon, as I say, Salah is not going to do the same thing again. Salah is the main reason why people are linking up. And as I say, Salah will go downhill, and Wirtz, the main creator, will also need time to adapt because he's used to the Bundesliga, alright? So that's taken Liverpool out of the equation, in my personal opinion. And Chelsea have a good squad, don't get me wrong. Chelsea have established a good squad. But they have inconsistency, right? They have inconsistency, and they have little children still. Like in a few years' time, maybe the conversation could be had, but not right now. Not right now. I think Chelsea, as I say, too inconsistent and too immature to win the league, right? Whereas Arsenal bring the whole lot. With Victor Gyökeres coming in, with Zubamendi coming in, with everybody coming in, they bring one thing, okay? One thing, which is now a goal threat through Victor Gyökeres, and also consistency and chemistry. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I think Arsenal will win the league. But anyway, as I said, great debuts from everybody on the United side. Cunha and Mbeumo, absolutely amazing. Šeško needs time to adapt. Zubamendi looked like he had everything under control. But as I say, I see potential, and now we go off to Craven Cottage on Sunday. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the post notifications on so you don't miss any future videos, and I'll see you guys after the Fulham game. It's Scotty out. Peace.